What's up, everybody? We're back again for episode 7 of the TJ Martino podcast. Here we are. If you don't know who this is your boy, the king of takes, the ruler of the terrible takes, TJ Martino. And thanks again to everybody that's been listening, all of you out there, the 200 plus of you, almost 250 of you out there listening. Love it. Exponential growth. And we got a very different episode today, but one that's very necessary because the NBA season is upon us. And we're going to do a full breakdown of all 30 teams in the NBA. And to do that, I needed to bring somebody that could definitely spew some NBA wisdom. And what better than someone who interned with the NBA this past summer? The TJ Martino podcast NBA insider, Jon Haspel, is in the building today.
Hey guys, how's it going?
In the gutter.
In the gutter. At Denny Hall, let's do it.
Yeah, John, so like I said, you did an internship with the NBA. What did you do for that? Because I'm actually very interested.
So I'm a finance guy.
Right.
So there's a lot of cool things to do for the NBA, but I worked in the finance department, which may not be the most sexy, appealing aspect of the NBA. So basically, I helped oversee a corporate card program, as crazy as that is, and look at everybody's card spend. So it was really cool to see like what they're spending money on the NBA. But it was a great experience because we got to do so many organized events. Like I got to sit in the green room for the NBA draft, which was awesome.
That
like
is
Calipari
awesome.
to my right, like PJ Washington to my left.
Wow.
Like it was crazy. Like the whole bull situation going on. Like from
Yeah,
that angle
that was
nuts.
a lot of drama because,
Crazy. But yeah, it was an awesome experience. It was cool to listen to guys like Adam Silver, Mark Tatum, those guys, and the culture there is just
Totally.
unbelievable. We're excited for the season.
Yeah. And you are just as big of an NBA fan as I am, and you and I have had some really good conversations, so I'm very excited to see how this goes. But for those people out there that aren't big NBA fans or aren't big basketball fans, this is a great time to get into basketball because this is the most wide open that I think the NBA has been in almost a decade. Like, I can honestly say that there are, like, a few teams from both conferences that I can honestly see winning the NBA championship this year. And that's, like, way more than I've ever seen in the past. And it's going to be very compelling to see what teams compete, you know. But for people that aren't fans of the NBA, this is going to be kind of an NBA-centric episode, so we're not going to be doing a lot of the typical things that we do on this show. But for those of you out there, maybe you want to just you want to get some knowledge on it. Listen, we hear what we got to say. We watch a lot of this stuff. We love it. Just check it out. Doesn't matter how you're listening. I don't care if you're in the car, walking to school, walking to work, falling asleep. Somebody told me last night that they fall asleep to my podcast, and I'm like, that's
really?
Great. I'm like, that does not bother me. Like, I'm like, I don't care how you listen, just listen.
Yeah.
But okay, let's get into this. Besides the point, we're just gonna. I ranked all 30 teams. So from per conference, I did 15 to 1 for every conference. So we're just gonna go through and talk about each of these teams and give our takes. So first of all, we're gonna start with the Western Conference. Should we start with the West or the East?
Let's start with the West.
Let's start with the West. Because why not? At number 15, the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you think of the Grizzlies this year? Do you have anything to say about the Grizzlies?
What do I think of the Grizzlies? Jaren Jackson Jr. is a stud. He's going to be really good. Will they compete right now? Probably not. They low-key have Andre Iguodala, which means that there's always a chance that he'll be needed in the playoffs. Maybe they flip him for a second-round pick.
That's what I'm
John
thinking.
Morant's a stud. He's going to dunk on people's heads. They should be good in a few years. But this year, yeah, I'm not on that train.
Yeah, this team just... I mean, they're at least going in a direction now. Like, I think John Morant, I think that guy is the real deal. Like, I saw some of him, especially in that tournament. He looked really good.
100%.
And Jaren Jackson's a really good defensive player, and he's tough, and, they got two good pieces, so we'll see what they can do together, how they can play together.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is just built like a horse. Too.
Yeah.
He can shoot, he's 7 foot. I mean, he's going to be a stud.
That team has got no real reason to win either, so you might as well just throw your guys out there. I think they should ship Iguodala for whatever value he's going to have and, start getting guys for that timeline you're trying to build.
100%.
14, the Phoenix Suns. Yes, another stinker, but they finally got a ball handler, Ricky Rubio. I didn't like his contract, but he's definitely going to be able to find guys, which like playmaking has been such a problem that it's just plagued this team. Like, I like Booker a lot. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity, but again, there's just not a lot of talent. What do you think about DeAndre Ayton?
I have mixed feelings about DeAndre Ayton. I think he's a very polished, skilled offensive player, but naturally his defense isn't where it should be. I mean, he can't really move his legs. He gives me Enes Kanter defense vibes.
He was one of the most horrendous post defenders in the league last year. And yes, he's young and he has potential and he showed potential but he's a very good offensive player. And I think if he can just keep fine tuning those skills, the jumper looks good. It looks like it could be something. So the jury's out on DeAndre Ayton at this point, but this team they lost a lot of shooting. They're very frail in that department, and they got a lot of young athletes though. I like Mikal Bridges from Villanova. Yeah. He's good. Oubre's an athlete and had moments. Saric, as a Sixers fan, he was okay for us. There was moments where he looked like he was going to be one of the better shooting stretch fours in the league, and he's just kind of been in and out of lineups and hasn't really found a team. And
I mean, Booker, I think with the Suns, talent has never been a problem. It's similar to these teams like the Knicks and these other teams where the management of that team is so toxic that it's like they can't succeed even if they wanted to.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That and like Igor Kokoshkov, their coach last year, was not the guy. He was not. His system was not going to translate with that Suns team.
That stems from the top.
But they got Monty Williams in there, I think. And we'll see what he can do. I like Monty Williams. Yeah, he's an NBA experienced coach. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah.
13, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the T-Wolves, baby.
Oh.
Yeah. I love Robert Covington. I think this guy is great. He was the biggest loss for us in that Jimmy Butler trade because his hands are so just active and he's a tough player. His obviously his on-off numbers aren't spectacular, but he does so much other stuff that never is recorded. He does stuff that's not stat. He has an impact that's not through stats. If you know what I'm saying? He's just his presence out there on defense just gives teams fits.
Great two-way player.
But Okogie and Layman, interesting players. Josh Okogie and Jake Layman, two young guys. I don't know. We'll see what they can do.
Baby.
This team's gonna suck, but I mean, and then you got Wiggins. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Where Wiggins will just be you never know what you're going to get with the guy. He's either going to come out there and be okay, this guy's pretty good. He can hit shots. And then you'll have a night where you're you don't even know he's on the floor.
Yeah.
He literally just was I don't really think he cares. It's just this guy has so much raw athleticism and he's just never
it is insane how
been
much
able
money
to commit to being an NBA player.
He's making so much money.
Yes.
And the fact that him and Jabari were so hyped up coming out of that draft and they're both just they're not good.
Yeah,
they're just not good.
It's a bad situation. They're paying. Yeah, they owe him so much money, and it's this guy is he literally probably sat in there when they were giving him that extension. He was probably sitting in there lying so hard. He was probably capping his ass off in there. Yes, coach, I'm gonna bust my ass every day,
dude. And
then just so you get that bag, and then once he got it, he's dude,
Thibodeau went from one of the most respected, although he's still respected, one of the most respected, successful coaches in the NBA. Total hard ass on defense, and then he goes to the Timberwolves, and they definitely have the talent.
And they're a horrendous defensive team.
It's very bizarre.
But I think Karl Anthony Towns is to blame for some of that. If he played better defense as a big man protecting the rim, you really open up a lot of opportunity for your team to get better. That's where it starts on defense, is having a good guy that can just block shots, and Cat has not been that. But I mean, he's been so effective on offense though.
He's super talented.
It doesn't really, it shouldn't matter. But with this team, when you have such little to work with, not great. But my number 12 now, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think this is kind of one of my controversial picks because a lot of people actually like the Thunder. I think they have a good roster. I think Paul is there. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's got the worst contract in the league. Chris Paul has the worst contract in the league. And 2 or 3 years from now, that's going to be a horrendous.
It's going to be making $40 million.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly.
It's crazy.
So I think if they're smart, they should shop Chris Paul, see if they can move him. and see if they can just get draft capital. That's what they're doing with Steven Adams. They're shopping him right now.
I don't know who would want to take CP3's contract.
I know. That's the thing. You'd really have to find a hungry team. Like, a lot of people are saying Miami was really looking at him. I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
I'm surprised the Lakers never get in that conversation.
Yeah, you would think. They're like,
gonna...
ooh, star power. Let's throw him in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I think LeBron and Chris Paul would play really well together.
Yeah, definitely.
But
100%.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I really like him.
Beast.
I like him a lot. I liked him out of Kentucky. I love the pick when the Clippers traded that pick, Miles Bridges, for him. I was like, I like this kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's athletic. He's
tall.
He's long, yeah. And his jumper's showing promise. It's not there yet, but it definitely looks like he could be good.
I love a point guard like that has
and he runs the floor.
He's crafty down low too. He can post up, which is awesome. You utilize that height like Sean Livingston type stuff. Like I love that.
And he runs the floor. He's very aggressive. I like him. So I like that move. And just honestly at this point, you should just try and move as many guys as you can and get draft picks. Like if you're Oklahoma City, like you've already committed to that. You already have so much draft capital. Just keep stacking up picks and keep stacking them up because you can deal those in the future or draft guys. Like it just doesn't hurt. And they should honestly just blow it up though. That's why I have them so low here because I just think they're gonna either just trade away guys or just not compete towards the end of the year. But
they really have so many picks. And
they do.
I saw Nerlens Noel block Kristaps the other day, hard, and I just wanted to thank the Oklahoma City Thunder for taking part in that.
Yeah.
Because that made my day.
We'll talk about Kristaps later. Number 11, the Sacramento Kings.
Fun team.
Very fun team. I think this team was one of the sleepers last year. Honestly, they were a few places out of the playoffs. I like the pickup of Deadman, but they're just going to put themselves in a salary hole. That's the problem. They're going to pay so many guys. I mean, they're Buddy Hield wants more money. Because he saw Harrison Barnes' terrible contract, 4 years, $85 million for Harrison Barnes. It's a bad deal. He's not worth that money. And now when you give a guy like Barnes that money, then Buddy Hield, when he's looking for an extension, is like, I'm better than him, and you're paying him that money. Give me more. I'm worth more than him. He's worth 85 and I'm worth 90. Give me 110.
Only the Kings.
Yeah. And so what? They're gonna pay Buddy Hield, and then De'Aaron Fox has got a contract. He's gonna want an extension in a year or two. He's gonna want that fat extension. They're gonna be in the hole. This team, and they do have a young core that's good. You really got to bank on these guys because I love Fox. I think Fox is great, and Bagley has potential. He had moments. He got hurt a couple of times, but he had moments. Bogdanovich, he's a nice shooter. And then obviously, we'll see with Buddy Hield because he's holding out pretty hard for this contract extension. So we'll see. San Antonio Spurs at my number 10 spot. Mm-hmm. For the first time in 22 years, they're missing the playoffs this year.
You think so?
I think so.
Damn.
I think so. For me, it comes down to they don't have the shooting. Last year, they were the lowest shooting three-point team in the league. And this year, they got even worse at three. I mean... And defensively, outside of Murray and Derek White, who can play some decent defense, like they're just going to be really ugly, and they're going to be just shooting a lot of mid-range shots, and they're not going to be able to stop anybody. And I think that this just is not a team that can compete in the West right now. Like if they were in the East, they would definitely be a playoff team. But like the West is too good this year, and it's really gonna catch up with them. I'm not high on DeRozan. I'm not high on Aldridge. I mean, I am on Aldridge, but not DeRozan.
Right. I don't know. I actually have a different take of the Spurs. I mean, you got to go with consistency. You got to go with reliability. I just can't go against the San Antonio Spurs. Our entire life, they've been winning 50 to 60 games a season. Obviously, Popovich is one of the best coaches of all time, and I'm beyond excited for DeJounte Murray to come back. He is one of the most elite two-way, obviously more on the defensive side of the ball, point guards in the league. I do think that they have just those classic Spurs role players. They got, like, Patty Mills. Like, I could see Trey Lyles succeeding in the system.
Yeah.
Like, a guy like Jakob Poeltl, like he's very decent, but maybe given Popovich, and he'll probably be, like, an Aaron Baines-type player, like, something like that. So I think they could be competitive. Do I think they're going to compete for a championship? No. But...
What about the playoffs? Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
I think they'll make the playoffs, yeah.
Think they'll be like a 7 or 8?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I forgot to mention, when I get to 11, I'd say Sacramento... and down, these teams all could easily make the playoffs. I could see Sacramento making the playoffs this year. I really could.
Yeah.
I could see them sliding into the 8th seed. Same with San Antonio. I just don't think personally that they're going to, but I could totally see it.
Right.
I'm not predicting that they will, but it could happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Speaking about a team that could slip into the playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks is my number 9 spot.
I hate this team. I hate that. I hate that. I love them.
They are that Luka Doncic, Kristaps pick and roll is going to be something to see. That's for sure.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
And look, John is a big Knicks fan.
Yep.
If you didn't know.
Yeah.
And he is pretty bitter about Porzingis.
All right. So when Kristaps got traded, like, my phone literally blew up in class. Like, people I haven't talked to for years are like, it was the most overwhelming day of my entire life. Like, it was crazy. I had the same Kristaps poster in my room.
Yeah, I remember it.
We've been through a lot together, but not enough. I mean, he couldn't handle the city. Kristaps couldn't handle the city.
Couldn't handle the city.
Get out of here. Enjoy him for 50 games a season. The pick and roll.
Exactly.
They could have a very good connection, Luka and Kristaps. I was actually literally starving. I love Luka coming into the NBA. I really wanted that on the Knicks. Obviously, it was too good to be true. So here you go. Mark Cuban makes it happen because he's a stud. And Kristaps, bye-bye. I hope you're a little slower than you used to be, and you don't block, run down the court, and yam on the Knicks when you play us. I hate him.
Yeah. But... yeah, I don't know. Well, their defense, though, is going to be a big question.
Yeah.
But Kleber, Curry, Hardaway, I mean, they got shooting, so...
Give Seth Curry a little love for that playoff game against Steph, too.
Yeah, he looked good.
Finals. That was awesome. That was one of the more entertaining games this year. Mm-hmm. And I think Hardaway could be good in a reduced role.
I just think Dallas, for being as big of a market as they were, I was surprised that they weren't more aggressive when it came to... making moves this offseason, because now they're just kind of in a hole of being a very average team. But now, who has upside, though? So.
They were like a little into Kemba Walker, but that was the only name that I really heard surfacing around the Mavericks.
And I don't know. I have to see how well Kemba could play off ball, which we'll hopefully see some this year. Mm-hmm. Now, for the first team that's going to make the playoffs on my list, my sleeper, the New Orleans Pelicans. But when I made this list, I didn't know Zion was going to be out. So I think maybe that the Pelicans... I might flip the Mavericks and the Pelicans. So I might go Pelicans at 9, Mavericks at 8, because... it just depends, because Zion is injured now for how... do you know how long he's hurt for? I don't know. It's not a significant amount of time, but he's missing at least the first couple of games. Yeah. And those 10 games... if he's missing 10 games, even more... if he's missing 5 games... those 5 games could be the sway between them making the playoffs and not. Like I said, like the 8 through 11 spot in the West is always, actually more like the 7 through 11 spot is honestly just a gauntlet every year. Like, it's always like a half a game separation. Yep. So like missing Zion for those games could be the difference between this team making the playoffs and not. And that's why I'm way more hesitant than I was when I first made this. But let's talk about this team overall. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they got a lot of young guys that are all, like, have a lot to prove. I mean, you got Zion, who's just the second coming of Christ in everybody's eyes. So it's like, you got Zion, and I think the Zion and JJ fit is going to be very nice. I love the pickup for them for Redick. I'm so upset the Sixers lost him because he was just so impactful for us, spacing-wise, and all that. I think he's going to bring a lot of that to the Pelicans. Holiday, this is Holiday's team. Holiday is going to have to put the team on his back, because this is his team. And, he's the veteran. He's got Lonzo and Ingram and all with Josh Hart and all that, and all these guys, these young guys that just want to get touches, and he's going to have to be the one to really put people in their place, especially on defense, because I think this team could be a really good defensive team. And also, shout out to Jackson Hayes. Went to my high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And now he's...
Did you ever see him play?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I saw him in high school, he was, like, really thin. Like, he was so skinny, but he was like a couple inches shorter than me, but he was a couple grades lower than me, yeah. And he just, I guess, shot up, man, because he's like a big kid now.
Yeah.
And good for him, man.
He's explosive.
Yes. He's very athletic. He's tall. I think he could be a really good shot blocker and rim runner in this league, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you can get a jumper, that'd be great too. So
shout out to the Nas, baby.
Yeah. So shout out to Moeller High School. Shout out to Jackson Hayes. But yeah, anything left on the Pelicans?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will say is that I think the fits are awesome on that team. I think that Drew Holiday is one of the more underrated defensive players. He's also versatile. He can play point guard, shooting guard. I actually remember I went to a Sixers game when I was younger. The first year he made the All-Star team, he rallied with that team. I think he's been very steady throughout his career, and I think their most low-key signing is Derek Favors. He's gonna. I think
rebounding
he'll be good. So, yeah, I like the fit on this team. I like Gentry. I think that they can make some noise. Do I think they're really going to be that competitive this year? Probably not. But they can do some things. They have the potential.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a really fun team in a couple of years, maybe. We'll see what Ingram can be, because Ingram has shown a lot of potential, and Lonzo, he can move the ball around, so he supposedly fixed his jumper, so we'll see.
We'll see about that.
Number 7, the Portland Trailblazers. Yep. I'm pretty low on Portland this year, to be honest with you. And I think I would be higher on them. And look, I could totally see this team sliding into a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah.
Maybe even a 3 seed. But I don't know about the 3, but maybe a 4 or 5 seed. I could see it. But the reason I have them at 7 is because Yusuf Nurkic is missing so much time this year, and he was so important to them last year. Mm-hmm. He was arguably one of the better bigs in the Western Conference last year, honestly, and very underrated. When he got hurt, that was a big hit to them, and the fact they were able to make a conference finals run was pretty impressive. I mean, yeah, they got really lucky with their bracket, but at the same time, they pulled out to some tough series. That Denver series was rough.
They should get a ring for making it to the conference finals. Honestly, they should get a ring.
Honestly,
seriously, that guy is one of the most garbage defenders in the NBA. Although he pads the rebounding and point stats, he really does. So draft him for fantasy. Don't put him on your championship roster.
Yeah. Speaking of padding rebounds, Whiteside. They got Hassan Whiteside and
the king of padding stats.
Yeah, Kent Bazemore also is on this team, so he can give some more. I think this is the best shooting roster that the Trailblazers have had recently. Mm-hmm. I think this, it's just the West. Like I said, it's just so tough this year, and Dame and CJ both got extensions, which Dame's is going to be a tough contract in a couple of years, but he earned it. Like he definitely earned that max because he's been so important to this team and the city and all of that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they have Pau Gasol. Does it even matter? Mm-hmm. Probably not. Does it?
Nah.
Does it even matter?
I mean, yeah, he'll give you some good bench minutes.
He's
not going to play a lot of games, but yeah, he's not going to play a lot of games.
No. And then, I mean, listen, Whiteside, just if he could learn to play basketball, it's crazy because he gets paid millions of dollars to do it. But if he could learn to just not, completely leave it his assignment to try to, grab a block mm-hmm. or, literally get his 2K rating up, maybe he could be huge for the team. But,
yeah.
I don't know if it's possible.
2K
we'll
rating.
Out. That was awesome when he busted on the scene. I'm just trying to get my 2K rating up.
And then Zach Collins, too. He's,
underrated.
He could. We'll see what he can do.
They got some guys. Scott Labissiere, also
mm-hmm.
out of Kentucky.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
I like him, so they'll be good. They'll definitely make the playoffs.
All right, now my number 6 pick, the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
This is kind of a controversial one, I think. I don't know, because this team has been just so dominant over the past 5 or 6 years. It's really interesting to see them not be mm-hmm. this year, and one of them comes down to the D'Angelo Russell contract. The sign and trade. I hated this deal for the Warriors. I thought this was such a bad idea. 4 years, $117 million for D'Angelo Russell, and I just think that's a lot of money for a team that has impending doom of cap problems coming up down the because they're gonna have to pay Draymond and Clay or whatever. I don't know who's up on their payroll, but I mean it's gonna get them. And this deal, I don't get D'Angelo other than his shooting. I've never been high on Russell, even when he was coming up and had he had really good moments. But I think he kind of conveniently the All-Star voting was convenient right when he was peaking. But I do think the guy's good. But him and Curry are going to get torched on defense. Mm. This team is going to be not great defensively, which is something you haven't been able to say, especially without Klay Thompson for most of the year. And their lack of depth, they don't have anybody on the bench that can do anything. They just got rid of Alfonso McKinney. I don't know, man. This team is just so, they're just going to be Steph Curry taking 30 shots a game and
One thing
torching everybody.
One thing that I will say is, number one, I think trading for D'Lo and sign and trade when they lose KD gave them the opportunity to absorb more cap, so they could go over without being penalized. Regarding the D'Lo and Curry fit, they're not going to be great on defense, but I think Curry works best when he's like doing that thing where he gets like 3 off-ball screens and just running around, catching, shooting. And I think that having D'Angelo Russell as a primary ball handler at times is going to help Steph Curry like immensely. Like he can do things on ball that Klay Thompson can't. So
that's true.
That should be interesting. And I don't know. I'm not the biggest D'Lo guy because I really think that his biggest weakness comes in the paint, driving in traffic. But he's young. He's a shooter. I hate putting the Warriors so low also, but man, that lack of depth I think it's going to kill them come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree. Yeah, we'll see. I could see, but the thing is, I would be scared to play this team in the playoffs.
Oh, 100%.
Especially if Klay Thompson's back and gets a little bit of time to get adjusted, which I don't know, but this team could be scary in the playoffs. And I mean, they have so much playoff experience.
Yeah. And give me a conditioned Draymond Green. I mean,
that guy, Draymond in shape.
That guy is everywhere at the same time. Like in the playoffs, like I know he makes some bad decisions, but like the way he pushes the ball up the court, like the way he's shifting on defense, like he is so fast when he's
He's a great passer too. He's an underrated passer.
Yeah.
He had some great ball movement for them in that finals. But yeah. Now on to my number 5, the Utah Jazz. I am very interested in this team.
Everyone is.
They're going to be really good defensively. That's one thing. I mean, Conley is. I loved the Mike Conley move. I thought it was such a good idea for them. Because he's really what they've been missing. His shooting, his ball handling. The fact that Mitchell's not going to have to do everything on this team for offensively is going to be big. Gobert has been getting better on offense. He's been getting better around the rim.
A stifle tower.
I mean, but he's just... Gobert will be an all-star this year. I'm saying it. But they also got Bojan Bogdanovic, too.
Stud. Great signing.
I think they're going to run a lot of small ball with him and have just shoot you to death. That's what this team's just going to do to you. I think they're just going to just shoot you to death. They have so many shooters. Ingles, Bojan, Conley, Mitchell. Like, they have a lot of...
Ingles is more than a hooper, too. That guy is the most deceptively athletic and shot-creating basketball player. Like, he is awesome. Mm-hmm. He's so much more than a shooter.
He's tough.
He's awesome. And then also, I will say, the Ed Davis signing, like, he was great for the Nets last year. He comes off the bench, rim protector, grabs rebounds, gives Gobert some rest. I like that a lot. Quinn Snyder, too. Good coach.
I'm a fan of Snyder. Good. Yeah, I think they're going to be very good.
A lot of people are high on the Jazz this year. It seems like their depth, like their fit, their spacing, like they got things working for them this year. It should be a really interesting team.
Yeah, and I could see this team maybe making a run to the conference finals. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. After, this West is going to be so interesting. Number 4,
crazy.
The Los Angeles Clippers are my number 4 seed. I think this just comes down to games played. Kawhi, he's not going to be playing a lot of games this year. He's going to be on load management. He was limping after that finals. He was not at 100%. But he's going to be. He's not. I doubt he'll play back-to-backs this year. I highly doubt it. Paul George is going to be out the first month of the season, so that's going to be a lot of games that they're going to miss. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter for them if they get the first seed in the playoffs. Like, as long as they get home court advantage, they'll be fine. So that they're probably thinking, why destroy all of our guys this season just to get the first seed in the playoffs? Like, when we can just get home court and we know when we're fully healthy, we can beat any team in the league.
Yep.
So it's like, we'll just, get chemistry down, build the team, and then come February or come April, get ready to just rock teams.
Right. In terms of actual power ranking, not regular season seeding, I mean, this isn't a bold take by any means, but I think the Clippers are the best team in the NBA.
I agree.
They won 2 games off Golden State, Portland won 0, and they didn't have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And the thing is that, all right, one thing we got to discuss, Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, both candidates for 6th man of the year. They're on the same team. How could you both be the 6 men on the same team? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it does make sense because they're both great off the bench. But I saw that. I was like, is this even, it should just be like best bench player, not 6 man.
The thing is, this team is going to be so dangerous because they got Pat Beverly, who's just a tough defender. You can throw him on your best. You can throw him on the other team's best player, and he'll just be a pain in their ass, and he can shoot. And this team's always going to have scoring. They're always going to have Kawhi doing his thing, Paul George doing his thing, or they're going to have the Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams pick and roll shoot combination. Like they're going to be tough.
A lot of fun. And I think with these big teams, you got to look at the guys who are going to come in when players get injured down the road. And I think like low key signings like Zubac, like they had him last year, but solid rim protector.
Got him for nothing.
Yep, Landry Shamet, as you know, he should grow a little bit.
Oh, that hurt.
That was a solid role player.
Yeah,
like, they should be good.
Shamet was nice. I was like that's the biggest loss we're gonna have in this trade with Tobias Harris. And you know what? I'll take that.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But now my number 3 is now the Los Angeles Lakers. The team I have just tough time wrapping my head around this team.
Yup.
I mean, the AD LeBron pick and roll is going to be just terrifying. And I like Danny Green. I liked that pickup. But outside of this, I don't know what this team's got. I really don't. Like, who do they got?
I mean, it's tough because, number one, the fact that Frank Vogel's coaching them is just, like, one of the weirdest things ever.
Strange.
And it's, obviously, they signed Boogie, got hurt, like I feel bad for Boogie, but these guys, I mean, I do like the Avery Bradley signing. He's over the hill, but he's effective. I think that they do have low-key depth considering where they were in free agency and the fact that they missed out on Kawhi. They kind of recovered pretty well. I love Rondo. I still don't understand the fit on the Lakers with him. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
But, like, we'll see. Kuzma's getting way too pretty for me, man. Like, the frosted tips, like I don't know about it. Like, he's got dating, like, what is he, dating a Jenner or something? Like, what's this guy doing? Like, if he's trying to be the third best player on this team, get them to the championship, like, he hasn't proven anything yet. So he's got to take a big step.
Yeah, I'm not that high on Kuzma either. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good scorer, but like this team defensively is going to be a disaster. Outside of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, of course. And he'll make up for a lot of the defense.
LeBron doesn't try on defense anymore. I mean, Danny Green's a good defender. But outside of Danny Green and AD, this team's going to be rough.
Some of the tape of LeBron on defense last year, just like not even trying, is like the most pathetic stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of giving up.
It's bad. I mean, hopefully this year he gets it back.
Yeah, maybe having AD and some guys some more, competent guys maybe.
Right. I mean, it's his fault. He went to a team with a bunch of like young children. Like
I said, he didn't go to LA to win. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I still don't think this team will make the finals. I don't think so.
Definitely wouldn't be surprised if they do. But
because it's LeBron.
I mean, LeBron come playoff time, it's just like a new beast.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same LeBron that we're entertaining in these rankings. So
fair, but I mean, this West is just tough.
Dude, how about that JaVale?
It's not the Eastern Conference of the past decade. It's just been garbage teams for LeBron to steamroll.
Yeah. Did you see the JaVale McGee fake injury? Did you see
Yes, I did see that. That was funny.
He is so JaVale McGee is so funny. Number one, if you guys didn't see it, when he faked an injury, like he's hobbling off the court, he just like comes back on 2 seconds later, catches wide open pass down low and yams it. He is so funny, but there was another video. JaVale's like on a fast break running down the floor. There's like 3 people in the paint. It's like him trying to be a point guard, like getting in transition. Like he does a spin, loses the ball, and you just see Avery Bradley like hand over his eyes. Like he's like, bro, like this guy thinks he's a point guard. Like he's such a goon.
Yeah, he's really something. Avery Bradley too. We'll see what he can do. I don't know. This team just has a lot of question marks that I don't know. I don't buy them yet. Yeah. But it's LeBron James, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Number 2. The Denver Nuggets.
Love them.
This is a very interesting team. They're young. They're hungry. Like they wanna prove that they're the best team. That's why I think they could definitely maybe make the 1 or 2 seed. I could totally see it. Like this was a tough one between this team and the next team we're gonna talk about because it was just like both these teams have such reasons to want to play hard this year and win games and I just think I love Jokic. I think Nikola Jokic is just fantastic. He is so fun to watch. I mean, he's just like he gives all hope to big, unathletic white dudes like myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's watching him go out there and just wheel it and deal it, and he's always making amazing passes, and he's got a nice jumper, and he's tough in the post, and yeah, his defense isn't great, but he's good enough, and this team is very deep. This is the deepest team in the NFL. Or NBA. The deepest team in the NBA. Definitely, by far. But I just think the Jamal Murray contract was just ugly. But you had to do it, but it was ugly.
It's a lot of money. He's going to be very good. He already is very good, but it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for Jamal Murray.
It's a lot
I mean, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, they got to spend it, and you say a little bit the fact that they drafted him. He's been on the team for 3 years. Like they saved some of it, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about Jokic is I love him. Like, give me, like, a more athletic, stocky, hopefully better-looking dude, and he's my player in 2K. But at the end of the day, Jokic, like, man, like, boy, is he talented, but, like, 2 to 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I think one of their biggest weaknesses is the fact that Jokic is not that in shape. And there's a bunch of dudes that could close on him, and it's like I don't see him being that final dagger shot creator. I think
I 100% agree.
But that's my biggest issue with Jokic. I don't see it, and I think it affected them in the playoffs. But
yeah, there's just lack of shot creation caught up with them towards the end.
Yeah,
and we were supposed to see Murray do that, and he did in a couple of. I think it was like game 2 of that series. He hit a big shot to give them the win, but in that game 7, he was just. Yeah.
There are very few big men in general that are taking that last shot. Like, obviously, you could give it to AD. Obviously, like, give me, like, classic Tim Duncan off glass in the post. But, like, that's a traditional, like, you're a 2-guard, 1, maybe a 3. You're taking that shot. That's your shot. So, we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe MPJ could be that type of player one day. Obviously, not this year.
Yeah, I was about to say about Porter Jr. I loved the pick. I loved it. When they picked him, I'm like, that's the steal of the draft. I'm like, this guy was supposed to be a top 2 pick. And, yeah, the back injury was rough. But you know what? They're like, we have a good enough team right now. We're confident enough in our roster right now that we can pick this guy. And who knows, maybe in a year or 2 he'll be ready to go and he'll be a big impact. Because he's got the skill and he's got the NBA size. I mean, he was literally, if he would have been healthy, he would have been a top 3 pick. And to get him at 14 or 13, whatever they got him at, was absurd. I was like, this is an amazing steal.
Yeah, I mean, that was their unique position. I would have loved if the Knicks would have drafted them, but they couldn't waste time waiting for a guy when they're not competitive.
They were in a different mind state than the Nuggets were.
I mean, that whole definitely be interesting. He's a shooter, too, low-key. He's tall. He should be good.
If it doesn't work out, then it was a 14 pick and it was a failure.
He has a very similar back injury to, like, David Wright, which, like, concerns me. Yeah. Like, that dude had to, like, literally, like, stretch for 5 hours prior to game time, and he just, like, literally evaporated into thin air towards the end of his career. So, I mean, there's a lot of lateral movement. Like, you're banging bodies, like, when you're playing basketball, especially when you're 6'10", like he is. So, I'm very skeptical on if he can stay healthy. But if he can, he'll be good.
Yeah, totally. And then Gary Harris is coming back, and he can maybe give some more of that creation that they've been looking for in shooting. But this team will be really good. They'll be very good this year. But my number 1 for the Western Conference, Houston Rockets.
Ugh.
I just think this team will win games simply because Russell Westbrook and Harden are going to play so many games. I mean, these two do not miss time. And if they both don't miss a lot of time, this team will win games just simply because of talent. But the fit with Russ and Harden is going to be something to see because you have 2 guys that love the ball in their hands and don't really know how to play otherwise. Their defense is going to be questionable. I get there's a lot of questions with the team. I mean, they lost Gerald Green. Tucker is getting older. Capella is hit or miss sometimes. And Gordon and Rivers aren't the best defensively. Gordon isn't. Rivers is better. But and rebounding, this team's not a great rebounding team either. So those are kind of like my points on them. But with all that being said, I think if they can get it to work, this team will win a lot of games. And I think it's just because this team has played so much together that they already have a lot of that chemistry built in, and it's just going to be about Russ being able to make shots. Like
I do not like this team. Like here's the thing with the Rockets. I have never liked the Rockets. If we're talking regular season, of course, they're going to win a ton of games. But come playoff time, this team isn't doing anything because D'Antoni doesn't coach defense. So even if they had players to play defense, I don't know that they'd be able to because they run down the floor, they take the first open 3 they see, they keep going. Like D'Antoni's super gun it. Like I don't think that works in the playoffs. I don't think it does.
I think it has a better chance of working with with Russell Westbrook than Chris Paul.
Oh yeah, no,
because
that's an upgrade.
Chris Paul just. It was always a struggle of like, is this guy actually going to get on the floor? Like, because he got hurt so much in his time in Houston, especially when they needed him most. Like, and obviously, injuries happen, but Russ is such a more durable player, and he extends their timeline because he's only like 20 something, and Russ is he's like 30 something, and Chris Paul's like 35 or whatever.
CP is just, he's outgrown the mold of the ideal point guard. He's not long enough. He's like more of a facilitator than a gunner. This is a D'Antoni type point guard. Russell Westbrook is oozing with talent. He's an unbelievable player. I just don't really like him. Like I just don't like him because I just think the amount of times that I've watched games and it's like, this dude is not a shooter, and he just thinks like, yeah, he can shoot probably better than most players, but man, like, give him 5 minutes left in the game, he'll take 6 shots and brick all of them. Oh, yeah. It's like, bro.
His jumper has gotten uglier. His defense has gotten uglier. Yeah. I get all of that.
He's super exciting. He's fun to watch, of course. Yeah. But it's like, give me 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I got to ride or die with a few players. I'm not putting Russell.
But I think Russ will help them with their rebounding, too, because he is a really good rebounder.
Definitely.
And he'll push the ball, and, I don't know. I think I just like this team in the regular season, but like I said, when it comes playoff time, this team's not going to beat anybody.
No.
I just don't think so, but, for the regular season I'm talking about, I think they'll be very good. Mm-hmm. All right, on to the East.
Oh, boy.
We'll run through these.
That's us, baby.
Number 15.
East side.
Yep, the East side. Number 15, the wonderful, amazing Charlotte Hornets.
By far the worst team in the NBA. And I don't even think it's close. It's not even close.
This team is just really bad. I mean, the Terry Rozier deal was a head scratcher for me. 3 years, $58 million for Terry Rozier.
I mean, they got to throw money somewhere, I guess.
I guess.
Should have paid it to Jared Dudley instead.
Cody Zeller. We'll see if he can stay healthy. But he's shown signs, but yeah, nothing. Kid Gilchrist, he's still on this team. It seems like he's been in the NBA for like 20 years. I was hearing somebody say that on a podcast I was listening to. Dude, I thought that was so funny.
He needs to switch hands that he's using. His jump shot is just so ugly. It's just the ugliest thing ever.
Yeah, this team is going to be terrible on defense. They're going to be one of the worst defensive teams maybe of all time. Yeah, Michael Jordan, man, I don't know what he's doing over there.
I feel bad for that guy. Not really.
I don't know what he's doing, but the only bright spots I can really see on this team is like maybe keep giving Monk the ball. I mean, he was terrible. But Monk was terrible, but like, I mean, at this point you've already committed. But I like Miles Bridges. I think he's a good athletic guy. Yeah, he can get up there.
Who did they draft? I'm blanking. I'm assuming the player is terrible because it's the Hornets, but I don't know.
Who did they draft?
Is Jeremy Lamb still on the team?
No. Oh, he plays. He plays somewhere else. I think he plays in Minnesota. I don't remember. Draft. Who did they draft this year? P.J. Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Kentucky.
We'll
see what he can do. Yeah, give him the ball. Give him the ball. He's a nice big.
They're doing nothing. This is an awful team.
Yeah.
And Rozier is going to take so many shots. It's going to be funny. His field goal percentage is going to be 30% from the field or something ridiculous like that.
If this team wins 25 games, I will be shocked.
Yeah, I'd be shocked.
I'd be blown away.
They suck.
14, Washington Wizards. With maybe the worst contract in the league, up there with Chris Paul's, John Wall.
I think Chris Paul beats him by just a hair, and he's out all season.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a bad deal. And they just signed the extension with Bradley Beal. That was the big thing. Everybody was like, are they going to move Beal? Like, they should move him and just rebuild. But they re-signed him 2 years, $72 million extension, and with a player option in 2022, so he'll be out of there. But I don't love Scott Brooks, honestly, as a coach. I don't think I didn't love him in OKC, and this team has just gone nowhere. And I mean, obviously, the injuries and all of the existential powers that have taken over this team, but I mean, come on. I don't know. I'm kind of, the jury's out on this team still, and what their direction actually is, because as of right now, I don't think they have one.
I'm just confused with this team because I've always liked John Wall a lot. I just feel like he's gained weight Okay, and then I feel like him and Beal have had this weird beef, but not beef that I don't know what's going on with them. Like I feel like they don't like each other, but they do. Like I don't even understand like what's going on. Wall is so good when he's healthy, but now I feel like looking at him objectively when he gets back, like there's no way he's as fast as he used to be. There's no way.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's a tough injury. He tore the Achilles, and yeah, look what it did to KD too. So, and he did it in the shower too, which is really something.
That's no fun.
Yeah, number 13, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland.
Yeah, another really, really bad team. That will be really bad defensively. Like maybe the worst. Like a lot of these East teams, they could really have some horrendous defenses. Like, like all time horrendous. Like, I think this team needs to ship Kevin Love though. They got to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Get him into a team that's competing, and they'll give you draft capital, or even if they give you some bad contracts, so you guys aren't winning any games anytime soon. So
I don't even know who would
just
take
keep
Kevin
getting
Love.
draft picks. Keep doing what the Thunder are doing. Just stock up on draft picks and young guys, and just move from there and see what sticks. Because I like Darius Garland. I like the pick a lot. I think the guy could be really good. It's just the fit with Sexton is going to be the big question. It's like, what is the deal here with Colin Sexton? Yeah, a lot of questions. The Cavs will be an interesting team to watch, though. I'm going to check them out and see what's good.
I really think Sexton is just not. He's just not good. I don't think he's good. I don't. I feel like he's just not talented offensively. He's low percentage shooter, and he's a good defender, but like at the end of the day, he doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, like are they trying to go for like a Damon CJ thing? Because like I don't think that's what this is.
That's what they're saying.
That's like the dollar store version of Damon CJ. But I don't know. Sexton, he was horrendous for the first half of the year and looked better towards the end, especially shooting the ball. But this team, they're gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
Now we move on to number 12.
What it is?
Your New York Knickerbockers.
Should I just talk for the next 2 hours myself?
The floor is yours.
All right. Here's the thing. Okay? All right. Obviously, we missed out on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which I wish my friends weren't so blindsided because I never thought we were getting them. And then right towards the end, I had people like, yo, it's meant to be. Like, you guys are going to get Zion first pick, KD, Irving. I was all right. Maybe. No. Listen. If you haven't learned from your mistakes being a Knicks fan, like, if you get hyped up about every big-name free agent that comes out and actually think they're coming to the Knicks, like, you have trouble learning from your past experiences. Like that's, like, that has to be, like, a bigger thing because it's so glaringly obvious that these guys just come out and they just don't get them ever. So, just with the current team, okay, I don't understand why we have Elfrid Payton on the team. We have 3 point guards. The problem with this Knicks team is that every player is so average. Like, none of them are that bad.
That's exactly the problem.
But none of them are that good either. So it's like, what do we do? And apparently they're already upset with their minutes. It's like, bro, why are you upset with your minutes? You guys are all 2 years old and have not proved anything. None of you deserve minutes anywhere. Like, you haven't proven anything. Dude,
but when the team's this bad, you should just be playing your young guys. That's the thing. Like, why the fuck are they going out and getting Bobby Portis and, like, all these... I get Randall. Randall's a good player.
Right.
But, like, Portis and Taj Gibson and Elfrid Payton and some of these guys, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we going in? Like, is this a culture that we want to build around a young guy like RJ Barrett, who I think got some potential, But I don't know. I don't understand the direction this team's going in. Like, do they want to win now, or do they want to build, or what does Dolan want with this team?
What I think that they're doing is that they're taking the Nets blueprint and they're like, all right, we can't just chalk another season to young talent. We need to get some guys out here that are not only going to push these players to win some games and get them a winning mentality, but they're going to push them in practice. So, like, they're competing against good, like, decent players all the time. I do like a lot of these signings because a lot of them are 1 year deals with a team option.
They're definitely shooting for 2021.
Yeah, they only, which is like, here we go again. But like, they only gave deals with team options. So they have a lot of power in this. And they signed some guys that I do see pushing the young guys forward, like, listen, like, I like having just, like, I know, like, Taj Gibson, like, I don't know where he's going, but just, like, to have him there, like, I'm
Yeah,
cool
he's a
with
good
it.
locker room guy. He's a veteran, yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, Bobby Portis, I don't know about. I do think Randall's going to be, like, he's going to put up numbers. Like, I don't know how good he'll be, but
Yeah.
he'll put up numbers.
I like Randall. I didn't think that was a bad deal. I just, yeah, the Portis was a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Even Taj Gibson, I was kind of like, all right. Like,
And I know you're a little low on Kevin Knox.
I'm very low on
I know
Knox.
you are. I still think he's going to be good. I think that he is a talented shooter. He's long. He plays a little slow style. I know, but hey, you saw him yam 2 hands over Ben Simmons last year.
Yeah, I saw it.
But we'll see. And Mitchell Robinson, his
love
potential is
Robinson.
out of this building. Like,
I think Robinson's
crazy.
really good. And Ellington, I think, is a good pickup. He can shoot. And Markieff Morris, another guy where it's like,
Dude,
what are we doing?
All these guys are decent. It's a team of average players, and I could not be more excited to see a bunch of average guys win 30 games this season, hopefully.
I think they'll win 30. I think they will. Like I said, I think they're better than 3 teams in the league. So,
Yeah,
I mean, just defensively, that's going to be bad. It's a weird fit. Barrett, we'll see if he can shoot, if he can, get a jumper going a little bit. But he is aggressive. He's big. He's tough. So I didn't hate the Barrett pick, but I kind of wish they kind of wanted Garland or maybe Kobe White or one of these other guys. But Barrett was definitely he's always had draft stock. Like teams have always been high on him. So you know what? I get the pick, and he wanted to go to New York, and he could blow up and be a really good player, I think. He's going to have a lot of chances to shoot because this team has no shooting and no scoring on their team at all, and no shot creation. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities to prove himself.
There's so many questions with this team that at least it should be interesting.
It'll be very interesting. I think this is the most interesting the Knicks have been in a while, which is kind of sad because they have no real potential.
Dude, it's our whole lives. It's sad.
All right. On to number 11, the Chicago Bulls.
The Knicks are better than the Bulls.
Really?
Maybe not, honestly.
No.
Maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
I love Wendell Carter. I think the guy's got really good potential to be really good big. Love Lauri Markkanen.
Me too.
I think this guy could be an all-star this year, a low-key all-star. I think he could be like one of those, like, there's always like 2 guys that make the all-star team, like the D-Los and the whoever's in the world that just make it because of alpha injury or like just like rant, like, oh, this guy deserves it, like that kind of thing. Like, I think this could be Markkanen's year for that. Just slip into the all-star game just because of the East having such a little talent for a lot of the teams. But I love Kobe White. Like I said, I was very high on him in the draft. I was like, this guy can ball, and he looked good in preseason so far. But what are they doing with Chris Dunn? Like, they're another team like the Knicks, where they just have players that just don't have any purpose on the team other than just being there. Like Chris Dunn at this point, like what like is he bringing value? Like, I don't know. But Thad Young is a guy I did love. I love that pickup. I'm a big Thaddeus Young guy.
Come on.
I'm a big Thaddeus Young guy. But yeah, you got anything on the Bulls?
Honestly, no. But I've never been a fan of the Bulls. Like I just since our prime childhood, Derrick Rose, Dang, Gibson, Noah days. Dude, a guy like Zach LaVine, like. I don't get a person like that. Like a Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon type,
He's
like
terrible on
dunker,
defense, yeah.
like athletic, like kind of skilled, like you're not doing anything for me if you're one of my best players. Like,
yeah, LaVine can shoot though. He had a good year last year. He averaged over 20 a game. I mean, this team's defense is going to be a question mark.
It's the flashy guy like that is fun to watch, but if he's one of your best players, you're going nowhere.
Yeah,
you're not doing anything.
Yeah, he's definitely would be like a good 2 or 3 option for a team. Number 10. A very interesting team to watch this year, the Atlanta Hawks.
Love them.
I'm high on this team. I think this is maybe a little bit controversial because of how bad they're going to be on defense. But I think Trae Young is the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
I hated the pick when it first happened, but as soon as I saw him start shooting really well, and he had a rough couple of weeks to start off the season, but he turned it around and really had a really good run for himself, especially after the All-Star break. He was looking good. I remember that game where he came out and torched the Lakers. The Hawks did, and he was just lighting them up. And I'm like, this dude has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I always thought his vision was his most underrated aspect too. Even coming to the NBA, he has great vision. He has great handles.
Yeah,
I liked the pick. I thought people overlooked it, and I'm happy he's proven them wrong.
He could lead the league in assists, honestly.
Yeah,
like this year, I don't think that's crazy. And John Collins as well. They were missing Collins for a lot of the beginning of the year, and that screwed up a lot of their wins that they could have had. So I think having him back this year. He's another guy that's not great on defense, but he's just got so much offensive skill that he's just He's good. He's a very good player, I think. I like Collins, but DeAndre Hunter, the jury's out on him. Who knows if he'll be good or not. The pick, I get the pick because he could be a nice little 3-and-D guy for them. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what value he can bring, and then Evan Turner is another guy. I mean, he'll be a ball handler, but this team just doesn't have any depth. They don't have any defense, and it's just gonna be about building a core. I mean, they have a direction, so that's good. That's all that you really need from a team like this, is just to have a direction, and they're fun to watch, and they got some young star power, so see what they can do.
I think one guy that we're missing talking about is Kevin Huerter. I mean, like he kind of busted on the scene for Maryland last year.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter.
And he's sneaky athletic, good shooter. I thought he was one of the more impressive rookies last year.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
a lot of people have made the comparison of Huerter and Young to Steph and Clay, and I'm like, Huerter's defense is not there to the level of Klay Thompson, but. Not even close, but, we'll see what he can do. I agree. I like Huerter. I like him next to Young. He's a good shooter. Number 9, just missing the playoffs, the Detroit Pistons. This is one of the most uninteresting teams in the league, honestly. They're the most unappealing team.
What else is new?
Blake Griffin had a great year last year. I've always loved Blake Griffin. And, he's been able to get a jumper and everything now, which was always something I said he'd be very good if he can get a jumper. But obviously his athleticism is not holding up. But, he's found other ways to be really good. And I'm big on Blake. But Luke Kennard, fellow Ohioan, I like him.
You like him?
I like him.
He's out of Duke, right?
Yeah. He's a shooter. He come in, he can score for this team, especially with a team that has no scoring like this team. And they got Sekou Doumbouya or whatever.
The Frenchman.
The guy from France. A lot of people were high on him in the draft. I don't know. I don't know enough about him to
God
have
love
anything.
taking a French guy in the top 10, right?
Yeah. There you go, Frankie Ntilikina. There's another guy for the Knicks we forgot to talk about. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yikes. But D Rose. They got D Rose as well.
All right. I'm very conflicted with D Rose because here's the thing. Even when he was on the Knicks, I think people slept. Everyone's like, oh, like D Rose kind of has his moves back, like his lateral movement around the rim. Like,
how many times did we hear that said?
He was doing that on the Knicks. Okay, everyone took notice when he went to Timberwolves. He was doing that on the Knicks. That's not his problem. He'll forever be able to make shots, circus shots around the rim. His problem is that he's the worst defender I've ever seen at this stage in his career. That might be a little bit of a stretch. But my even more of a problem is that he takes the ball, he goes head down, and he doesn't look to find anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
He doesn't move the ball around.
But he's fun to watch. I love D Rose. I'm sorry, D Rose. You were such a positive influence in my childhood, but
and he had a really good year last year, though. He did. He looked really good on a team that was just so incompetent.
I mean, is that a surprise? He can look really good on a team that's incompetent. He can score. That's definitely something that he still has the ability to do. It's the other things. It's when you're driving in the paint, he's gonna do like a crazy thing with his hands, try to get it up. He's gonna touch it off glass. It works 2 times out of 5 beautifully, but he's not looking for anybody on the perimeter. He's not doing that.
No. And I think it worked for him in a lower usage role too, but we'll see. I don't know. Detroit, for me, they just don't have enough.
I love Blake Griffin. And I want to say that Drummond, weird vibes, he's stuck in the wrong era.
Yeah, Drummond is something.
He should just go back to dating the iCarly girl and just getting famous off that.
All right. Number 8, the Orlando Magic. This is the first team in the playoffs. I'm saying they slip in. Vucevic, though, not high on Vucevic.
Former Sixer.
Yeah.
For like a half season.
Was he on the Sixers?
Yeah, bro. He got drafted by the Sixers. My friend customized a T-shirt of Nikola Vucevic on the Sixers because he wanted to get a player that wasn't going to leave because he got like Holiday and then like Evan Turner and those guys. So he customized it and then he got traded. And he's fine.
They ship all of their recycled players to the Magic. Like Markelle Fultz is there.
Yep.
I want nothing but the worst for Markelle Fultz. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That.
But no, I'm not on the Markelle Fultz train anymore. I'm over it. That guy was the most frustrating player to pay attention to in the history of any of the sports teams I've liked. Like being a number 1 overall pick, I loved the pick. I'm like, the dude can shoot. He can spread the floor. He'll be a great match for Ben Simmons. He can handle the ball. He shows up. Where's the jumper? Where's the jumper? I'm like, and then he's got all these problems, and he's not telling anybody about them. No, the team, I don't know if it's the team's fault, I don't know if it's his fault, but there was no communication with the fan base or the public about what was going on with this guy for months. And I'm like, are we ever going to see this guy get on the floor? I'm like, are you serious? And then the thoracic outlet syndrome and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, this is just a disaster. So when they traded him, I was like, fine, just get him out of here. I'm like, I don't want him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope he figures it out. I hope he gets his things in order because, man, it was just such a taxing. I don't know if it was the people around him. I don't know what it was, but it just took a toll on the fan base, and it's hard when we're left in the dark on our number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it was a botch. We should have got Tatum.
Yeah.
100%.
And
So I'm glad that Elton Brand swallowed his pride and said, you know what, the pick was bad when it happened. I'm in charge now, and we're moving on from this. Yep. We're cutting it off right now. All the BS. Like,
the thing that's interesting with Fultz is I didn't watch this game, but his rookie season when he came back for 10 games. Or something,
he had a triple-double.
He had a triple-double.
He's got skill, but it's just I don't know, man. We were not on the timeline to wait for him to be ready.
Yeah. 100%.
Like I think he was just the wrong player to pick for the timeline, and I mean that's saying that in hindsight, but yeah.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, this team, I don't know what they'll do. I think they can make the playoffs. They got enough shooting and whatnot around them. Fournier and guys like that, Terrence Ross, they can score, and the team's not terrible defensively. I actually like their coach a lot. What's his name? I don't remember off the top of my head, but he's really good. Number 7, the Indiana Pacers. Yeah, I'm not high on this team.
They're bland. I mean, I like Oladipo. I'm a big Oladipo guy, and I love how his success has just increased since he's gotten there. I think that Sabonis is an effective player. He's not a good defender. Miles Turner, I like. It's just like a bunch of
yeah,
they'll be fine.
Yeah, Turner's got some improving to do. I love the Brogdon pickup. Yeah. I think Brogdon's very good. I don't
know for that money though. He got paid.
Yeah, he got a lot of money. It was a little bit pricey, but you had to. There was a bidding war. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah.
I think him and Oladipo could fit really well next to each other too. But it's just all that matters with this team is if Oladipo can come back and be good. Because that quad injury is tough, I've heard, to come back from. Like, I've heard, it just sounds very brutal.
Well, at least he'll have a singing career if he can.
Yeah, R&B guy. And then Sabonis, there have been thoughts of him being shipped recently. I don't know. If Sabonis and Turner, they're going to have a lot of opportunities with Oladipo out to be on the floor together, and we're going to see if that can work. And if not, Sabonis is going somewhere else. So, I don't know. This team, I think, is interesting. They got Jeremy Lamb. Yeah, this is where Lamb went. He went to Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And TJ McConnell, 2 guys that they picked up. My boy, TJ McConnell. I was so mad we lost him. He was a pit bull. Yeah, that guy was a pit bull. I loved him. He was tough. He'd come in and just be a little fire plug.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him. But number 6, Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
And I could see this team slipping it depending on if the roster changes. If they move Lowry... If they just blow the whole thing up, if Masai Ujiri says, you know what, we're blowing this whole thing up and we're gonna, just get pieces to fit around Siakam, that would be something that I think they should do. But if they want to stay competitive, they'll definitely be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to disrespect the champions of any league, but I mean, obviously Kawhi's gone. That's gonna kill. But here's the thing. Van Vliet is just not that good. Like, he was hot at the right time. Like, he gives me, big time Daniel Murphy vibes. Big time, you shine on the national stage. But, and that's when everyone sees you. And great for him. He has a championship. Nothing will ever overcome that. I don't think he's going to be that good. But what I will say is that Pascal Siakam, as if we don't already know this, he is so legit. He is so
he's
nimble.
Nice.
He's fast. He's off glass. He's got the soft touch. When you watch him play, it's who was Pascal Siakam 2 years ago? It's crazy.
I know. He came up and in that playoffs, he was excellent. Excellent. And especially in that Sixers series, the Sixers series he wasn't great, but in the finals he was great. He was excellent in the finals.
I mean, he's really athletic. He's fast. He's crafty. He's awesome. And that spin move he's got, he's about to trademark that. He is nice.
And I mean, last year they were arguably that playoff team, that finals championship team was literally one of the best defensive teams of all time.
Largely attributed to Marc Gasol.
They were tough, man, tough. And that I don't even want to talk about the Kawhi shot. Don't even want to talk about it.
Nah.
I've had enough. Number 5. So, back just on my final point on them is if they blow it up, then they're not going to be. Then they'll miss the playoffs, and one of the other teams will slide in. But if they stay competitive, they'll make the playoffs.
I want to say one more thing too. I've liked Kyle Lowry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like Houston Rockets days.
Oh wow!
Here's the thing about Kyle Lowry. He is now so it's now common. Everybody knows that he's so overrated that he has now become underrated.
Yeah.
He is so underappreciated. It's ridiculous. At one point, he was Kyle Lowry, people say he's garbage. He can't score 20 when you need him to, blah, 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 blah. There's so much hate around Kyle Lowry, even though people like him just around, his overall productivity.
NBA Twitter rips him apart.
He is now underrated. I just want to establish that. It's out there. Kyle Lowry, still a very solid starting point in the NBA. Obviously, just
I think he's really good. And, dude, that Game 6 in the finals... The clincher game, he was huge. Yep. He was pulling up and hitting jumpers 2017 Kyle Lowry. He was out there doing his thing. And I was because he had been nowhere. He had a 0-point game in the playoffs. I was like, what is this guy doing? He's taking bad shots. And the teams were daring him to shoot. They're like, just shoot. And it was looking rough for them. But he turned it around and looked great in that game. When they needed him most, he was there.
Scrappy.
So shout out to him. Number 5, Brooklyn Nets. Very interesting team now. I personally am not high on Kyrie. Now look, I will tell you before I get crucified by everybody, I do recognize that Kyrie Irving is one of the best offensive players of the decade. I will say that, but just everything with that Celtics situation was just so ugly. The team just was so not with him. And maybe this team will be different. I mean, it's different circumstances, but I don't know. I'm not in on the Kyrie and KD fit either. I don't know. And this team will be good. This team will be good. And I mean, they have such good pieces around them. Dinwiddie, LeVert. I love both of them. DeAndre Jordan,
sucks.
He's not great, but with this team, I think he'll be fine.
He's fine.
Jarrett Allen is a guy I'm very high on.
You are?
Yes.
Why?
His defense.
He's a good defender.
Yes.
He gives he's one of those rim protector, not that great offensively. That's what he's gonna be.
No, he's tough in the paint, dude. How many videos did you see on the internet him just blocking?
I know, but that's the thing, dude. The thing about him. All right, this is a very biased take, but it is what it is. So Mitchell Robinson, second in the league in blocks, 22 minutes per game. Jarrett Allen gets so much hype about these blocks, dude. He is a good defender. But he's not that good of a defender. He finds himself in the right place. He blocked a lot of big names, and I think that upped his clout big time this year.
I think Robinson's better too. I think
maybe not
right now, but I think he has a higher ceiling for sure. I agree with you, but I think Jarrett Allen plays good defense.
And solid player.
And this is kind of a chemistry year for them because KD's coming back. So I don't know if they're really going to compete for a championship this year, but
they'll make the playoffs.
They'll definitely, they'll be a 5 seed. And
I love Karis LeVert.
Yeah,
his length.
They're moving in the right direction. I think with Durant, we'll see how he moves, and that's down the road. But yeah,
I also think I'm a little bit jealous of the Nets because the way their GM has put together this team, like a guy like David Nwaba, low key guy from the Bulls. I would have loved to have a 2-way player like that who's not some random, slightly more established guy, but he's an effective player. They got Taurean Prince. They have Garrett Temple. They have Rodions Karuk should be good. They have these guys that are good at basketball. So once again,
they're a very deep team. They're another very deep team.
Yeah.
Number 4, the Miami Heat. I
can't believe you have them.
I'm very high on the Heat this year. I've been talking myself into the Heat this year as being a pretty good team, especially in the regular season. First of all, Eric Spoelstra.
Love him.
I think he may be the best coach in the league, in my opinion. I think this guy is just great. I loved him with LeBron. Everybody was all like, oh, LeBron's the coach. I'm like, no, this guy is the coach. I'm like, and you could say that about LeBron and his second stint with the Cavs more, but this was Spoelstra's team. And this dude was the backbone of that Miami Heat championship runs, that whole run where he was the backbone of that team. And what he's been able to do with this roster, especially after the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh fallout, the way that this team has still been able to kind of be competitive, and now they got Jimmy Butler, a guy who can make a lot of shots for them, and is a guy that I loved in Philly. You think
he's the number one on a winning team?
No.
On a 4-seed team?
Yes.
You do?
In the East, yeah.
Okay.
I do. And like I said, Tyler Hero is legit, dude. The dude's got a jumper.
Dude, you know when he wore that suit to the draft that he was just going to ball.
He's
you
legit.
Know how it is.
He's good. And this team is always in good shape. They're always running the floor. They got pieces, man. They got Bam Adebayo. We'll see what he can do. Maybe he can pick up a jumper too, and he'll be very interesting. Bam needs to take a step. If Hero can come out there and just make shots. Jimmy can just run pick and rolls on everybody and do his Jimmy stuff, his fadeaway jumpers and all that stuff that he's so good at. And this team will be very good this year, I think. And look, I don't think they're gonna make any noise in the playoffs. I think they're totally a regular season team. Like I could see them getting a first round out. But I think maybe the 4 seed is a little bit high for them. But I could see it happening. I could see them being in the 4, 5, 6 range, somewhere in there, and just being a competitive team in the East.
Yeah.
And they're definitely moving in the right direction. So, I like this team, and we'll see what Winslow can do. He's a good ball handler, and I think he's going to run the point for them too this year. So
I don't know how I feel about NBA Winslow. I liked him a lot in college. I don't know how I feel about him. I mean, he's a good role player on a good team, but I don't know how I feel about him on a team that I don't feel like has a real chance to compete. The thing is, I like Jimmy Butler. I'd love to have him on the Knicks. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love his vibe. Like, he's one of those guys where it's like, this is the thing. Like, the Knicks could have overpaid for, like, a middle guy or, like, a second, third tier guy. Yeah. They didn't, because it's like, all right, like, this is fun. Like, are you going to win anything?
Yeah.
Like, with Jimmy Butler as your best player? He's good. He has a great mentality, but it's like, number one, his effort succeeds his actual level of talent. So, like, he's not... He can create his own shot, but, like, it's not like you got, like, an elite shot creator here. Like, he's good offensively, but he's just he's, like, a notch below, like Dude, what you need.
But he's that guy. He was that guy for us in that series against Toronto. When we needed a bucket, he got us a bucket. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that Kawhi shot, we were winning the finals.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's the thing. It was literally that close. So I like the guy a lot, and I think defensively this team could be very interesting.
Shout out Udonis.
They got a lot of athletes and a lot of young talent. So I don't know.
Udonis Haslem, bro.
Yeah, is he still on the team?
Oh yeah, he's still.
OG. He's been there for since I was born.
Yeah, literally.
All right, number 3, Boston Celtics. Very interesting team. I want to hear what you think about Boston.
All right. I do like Boston. I think I've been convincing myself a little bit more. One of the reasons is that for a while now, they've had their point guard-centric offense. So I think that it's going to be a little bit seamless for Kemba Walker to come in. I'm not the biggest Kemba Walker guy, but I think he fits really well with what the Celtics have done. I love Marcus Smart. I love him especially behind a flashy point guard. It's like a two-headed monster in football where you got the bruiser, and then you got the agile guy. I would not be surprised if this team makes some noise. Like, Gordon Hayward could have a little bit of a resurgence. I think people sleep on Robert Williams III. He was a super underrated draft pick. I think they got him in the late 20s last year. And I think they got some gamers on this team. I mean, I hate Enes Kanter. I just do. I can't stand him. I think he won't be getting time by the end of the year. But they got some pieces here for sure. And watch out maybe for Carson Edwards. I can see him being good.
I like Edwards. I wanted the Sixers to get him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. It's guys like that where, he kind of gives me, a little bit of, a Jimmer for debt type vibe.
Yeah, he can make shots.
You never know. You never know with a guy like that. When you have that ability to shoot, he could be decent, short, small guy. This
team is very interesting, and I think this is one of those cases of addition by subtraction. I think getting rid of Kyrie Irving out of this team will give chances for Jalen and Tatum to grow, and I think that those two players could be very great or not. I mean,
I think they'll be
especially I'm higher on Tatum than Jalen. Personally, I think Tatum, just if he can just stop taking bad turnaround Kobe jumpers and actually play basketball like he did in his rookie year, then I think he could be really good. But I loved Kemba. I think Kemba is a better fit for this team than Kyrie, and I think Kemba's just hungry to have a good roster around him of guys that actually know how to play basketball, because in Charlotte he's just been thrown to the dogs basically since he was drafted by the Bobcats. So it's just for him to actually have a roster that's really competent and knows how to play basketball, I think it's big for them.
It's a good fit.
Gordon Hayward, we'll see what he can do. I mean, he's had some time now to recuperate from that ugly injury, and now he has a year under his belt of playing some games. So we'll see if he can actually come back to that Utah Jazz form, because if he can, this team is scary. But for me, man, the reason I'm not sold on this team, especially in the playoffs, defense. This team is not going to be a good defensive team this year. Not like they were in the past. And that's my biggest problem with this team is losing Al Horford was just terrible for them. And
horrible.
And to the fashion that they did, it just is amazing. Because I do not like the Celtics personally, but just looking at them as a team, Cantor is just horrendous on defense. Robert Williams, I mean, we haven't, like I said, I'm not out on him. I haven't seen enough of him play really to actually have a judgment, but maybe if he plays well and proves that he can start over Cantor, then I think the team could be pretty good. It just depends on defense with this team, man, because I think they're just going to get torched by because a lot of teams these days can just score. Like even some of the bad teams like Atlanta, they could play in Atlanta and get beat just off of getting outscored, like because their defense is just going to be a sieve this year.
Yeah.
So that's like my thing with Boston is like they just don't have the depth that they had in previous years. I mean,
well, listen, it's going to be really nice to have a leader on the team who is a normal human being.
That is. Kemba, I think will be a good face for the city. I didn't hate the trade. I'm like, or not trade. I didn't hate getting Kemba. I was like,
Yeah. Listen, for them, it's a great fit. I personally listen, if Kemba would have come in the Knicks, all this stuff because they were big in free agency this summer. Obviously, I would have been excited. That would have been a moderately decent team. But, that's all. I keep going back to these guys where it's like, if you're not going to have the guy or the system for that guy, I don't even want,
if you don't fit the direction of the team, don't just have him on there because he's the best talent. But I think Kemba can do a little bit more off-ball stuff, I think, than Kyrie was capable of doing. So, even though I would take Kyrie over Kemba, I think for this team, I think it works. In the situation that they were in, I think it works. Mm-hmm. Number 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Go off, King.
This team is going to be so interesting this year to watch. I mean, the whole drama of the offseason with Jimmy Butler leaving to go to Miami, I was just like, okay, I guess he doesn't want to win anymore. That's fine. That's cool. Go take your money. But being able to get out of that Jimmy Butler situation and get Josh Richardson and Al Horford, I would take them both over Jimmy and JJ. I would take, and I think it's just because of the defense. This team is going to be the best defensive team in the league. If they're not at least top 3 in defense this year, it's a failure. They have so many good defensive players. Horford, Embiid, Josh Richardson is a pit bull. Ben Simmons is a great on-ball defender and is big and can guard 1 through 5. Tobias is not a great defender, but he said he's going to put more effort into it. He's lost some weight. And even if he's not great, I think the fact that he has 4 elite defenders around him will make him better. Matisse Thybulle, our first-round pick this year, I loved him. I loved the pick. I was like, this guy is just tough, man. And if you can just bring him in off the bench and have him just guard like a LeBron for a couple series or whatever, and just or not even LeBron, have him guard like a James Harden or somebody for a couple series and just give him fits and just be a pain in the ass off the bench, that's the kind of stuff that's going to win us a championship. And this team I could definitely see it happening. But obviously there are questions. Who's going to create shots on this team? That's the thing. Who's going to be the guy we're going to give the ball to with 2 minutes on the clock and it's a 4-point game and we're losing? Who are we giving the ball to? And a playoff series against a really good defensive team. And that's the big thing. Who's going to be that guy? It was Jimmy Butler last year, but he's not on the team. Is it going to be Tobias Harris? It should be. We gave him max money. He better be the guy. So this team, and Thybulle, like I said, I love. Zaire Smith, haven't really seen enough of him to really see if he'll be add any value. But this team, man, obviously, this team is really good to guard Giannis, and that's really what it's going to come down to is can we? Well, we'll talk about the Bucks, but anything you want to say on the Sixers?
Yeah, I'll just say, number 1, respect to the Sixers because I like their edginess. I like the Al Horford signing. Very bold. Very
I love Elton Brand as an executive. He's so aggressive.
I like that a lot. I think that, obviously it's been said, Al Horford's the guy that could guard Embiid. Now they're on the same team. Al Horford is just that dude. Like, yeah, he's not taking the last shot of the game, but it's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you're finding him open from three. Like, he's gonna knock that down, and I love it.
I think he'll play a lot of backup center too, because I don't think Embiid's gonna play a lot of games this year, or maybe he does. I don't know, but even if he doesn't play a lot of minutes, I think Horford and Simmons on the pick and roll will be very nice.
Definitely.
Because Horford can help space the floor for Ben Simmons, which. Let's talk about the Ben Simmons jump shot, shall we?
Oh,
God. The jury is out on this right now. I do not know what to think. I mean, I really don't. I mean, we've seen him make one now in the preseason, which was just, you would have thought that Jesus came back again. You know, whatever. I keep thinking that. You would have thought an amazing thing would have happened, because NBA Twitter was exploding.
How awesome is NBA Twitter, by the way?
The best.
It's the best.
The best. I love NBA Twitter. But NBA Twitter and all that was going crazy, and I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, I'm glad he made one. Like,
sure, time is running down. He didn't take it on
demand.
It
took him 2 years, but I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't understand if you're a professional basketball player, how you can not know how to shoot. I don't know.
I think he does. Obviously, he's not that confident in it, and I like how he's pretty candid when he talks about it.
Yeah, he knows he's not good at it.
But the thing is, like, all right, listen, Ben Simmons making a three, like, it's a big deal, like in terms of, like, oh my God, Ben Simmons actually made a three, but he didn't just pull up and take a three or took a three. It was 7 minutes left in the second quarter. It was like he had to shoot.
Yeah,
it was
a
not,
buzzer beater.
You know, so I want to see him actually maybe catch and shoot, maybe pull up, maybe... Like I don't want him to be forced to shoot the three, and that's why he's shooting it. Like, I'm curious to see
if he can integrate that into his game.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I agree. And if his shooting becomes actually respectable, like if he can shoot 30%, honestly, on like two or three attempts a game, that's all. Like that would make such a difference to this team. Just him having to be able to space some more, because the spacing on this team has been a problem since he was drafted.
It'll still be interesting, the spacing on this team.
Yeah.
Especially with a guy, I know they signed Trey Burke, and I do think he has talent, but man, if you better be ready. He is in love with the long two.
Yeah,
like, in love with
Trey Burke.
Yeah, he's not a true floor spacer. Like he can shoot threes, but he loves taking deep 2-pointers. Yeah. So it's like it's crazy, and he makes a lot of them, but it's like Trey Burke. I don't know.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna need a lot of shooting on this team, because Mike Scott, he can't really do anything else except for shoot. Like, I like
Mike Scott.
I do like Mike Scott. I think he's good for a bench piece. But yeah, it's really gonna come down to who can actually shoot threes.
I mean, I think even more so than worrying about shooting, they're gonna be playing to their strength. So I mean, they have a very unique strength. Everybody's got shooting, but what if they can dictate the pace of the game? Then they'll be fine.
Yeah,
they have no starters under 6'7". So
no, yeah, they got a lot of size and. Yeah, I don't know. I could totally see this team. The reason I don't put them as the number 1 seed is because of depending on how many games Embiid's going to actually play.
Yeah.
Like, it's really going to be... Because he says he's going to go for the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year and all that stuff, and I'm like, great. Like, I love the aspirations, but can you actually play enough games to where you can be considered for that? Because, like, you got to play at least, like, 70-something games before you can actually, like... be in the argument. So it's like he hasn't played it over like 55 games or whatever, so it's like, it just depends. And do we really want to play him all season just for him to be at like 75% for the playoffs like he was last year? Like, I don't know. I that's why I don't think this team will be the number 1 seed, but I just think they're so good, even with I think they could just be so good because the East is just not very strong, so I think that they'll make the 2 seed. And definitely have home court advantage. But let's go on to my number 1, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Agreed.
And it's funny that 1 and 2 are who they are, because I mean this is kind of an everybody's pick for the conference finals is Sixers Bucks, and so I've been watching the Bucks a lot, very closely, because they are our one roadblock from getting to the finals. So it's like for the Bucks, they got worse this year. This offseason. They lost Malcolm Brogdon, who was a very good ball handler, shooter, defender for that team. Really a good jack of all trades, and he's in Indiana now. And they also lost Mirotich's shooting. They lost shooting. They lost Tony Snell's shooting. Like, they lost guys that can shoot. I mean, they got Korver, but he's kind of not really...
over the hill.
Yeah, he's only there to shoot. But Giannis is just... he's so damn good that this team is just going to be so terrifying. And if Giannis can keep shooting and that kind of stuff, man, yikes. I'm going to be very scared to play this team.
Yeah.
But
I mean, fun team, number one, because, I mean, they got the Lopez twins, which is awesome. Robin Lopez is going to be murking everybody's mascot. They also have the Antetokounmpo brothers. So that's 4 players on a team that are just brothers, which is just funny in general.
yeah.
I like Wesley Matthews as a backup shooting guard. I'm high on Dante DiVincenzo actually having a improving year. He was hurt a lot last season, and I do think he can be good in the NBA. Similarly, but much less warranted to the Heat, like Ilyasova has been on the Bucks. Are like how long? Like, dude, it's crazy. He's been on the Bucks forever.
Yeah, he's always like found his way back to that team.
It's crazy. But yeah, they'll be dominant. They got a good 1-2 punch with Bledsoe and Hill. I'm really not a big Eric Bledsoe guy. I know he's a good defender. I think he's an especially good fit with the Bucks as compared to other places, but. I'm out on Bledsoe. I don't think he's worth the money that he's being paid.
Let's just say the Sixers and the Bucks meet up in the conference finals this year. Who do you got in the series?
Honestly, I would probably take the Sixers because I think that if Giannis is driving and you got Horford at the 4 and Embiid at the 5, like that's scary, bro. Like Horford is an animal come playoff time. Like he is meant to be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He's not meant to be in the regular season. He is a freak. He could guard at least 2 to 5, maybe not a 1. He can pass, knock down the open 3. I'd like to see Embiid stay conditioned and treat his body right. That would be a key factor. But yeah, I'll probably take the Sixers.
Yeah, I think I would take the Sixers too. Even if the Bucks had home court advantage, and I think the thing that comes down to is. You got to look at. I think what Ellen Brand did was he looked at what Toronto did to stop Giannis last year in that conference finals, and it really came down to just loading the paint up, and daring everybody on Milwaukee to shoot, daring Bledsoe to shoot, daring Middleton to shoot, daring all of them just to shoot threes, and they crippled the paint. They put Ibaka and Gasol and Siakam down there and just covered they called it the wall. They covered the entire rim. And made it very tough for Giannis to do anything on offense because he couldn't just dunk over everybody. And if you put Embiid and Horford down there, you're gonna be forcing Pat Connaughtons of the world and all these guys to just shoot threes. And in that case, with the Bucks, it's a hit or miss. So I mean, Sixers are just going to dominate the paint. They're going to be so good on defense that I don't know. I'm not that high on Milwaukee. Even though I have them at the 1 seed and I think they'll make the conference finals, I don't picture them beating the Sixers. I just don't.
Anytime you got the MVP, it's huge, especially when he's young, long, and athletic. Like
he's the only way they're going to beat us.
I think this past early summer was kind of the first time. I know Marc Gasol is a good defender. I'm pretty sure he's won Defensive Player of the Year before. But man, I thought he was a little over the hill, which he is undoubtedly, especially offensively. But he was such a difference maker on defense. So impactful.
Dude, he was.
When it mattered. And that's the type of guy that I see Horford being, where it's like...
Yeah, especially later in his career.
You're not shining in the regular season. You're probably not going to be an all-star, but when you need a guy to get in the paint, put his hands straight up, and not fall under pressure, that's going to be your guy.
Yeah, and a guy to hit shots for you in the corner. And,
yep.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. But yeah, that's it. That's our...
Let's see how we do.
Extensive list. Yeah, well, let's listen back to this and see how it goes. Do you want to do top 5 players, or
we could run it real quick. I'll just spew mine. So, I mean, I feel like this is always just so challenging because players have such different skill sets. So I'm just gonna say in no order, my top 5 players are LeBron James, regardless of what happened last season, defense in terms of talent and potential ability and track record. I put LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Anthony Davis. I have a few honorable mentions. I have loved the Warriors. I love watching good basketball. So I've loved the Warriors for a long time.
Yeah, they're an awesome team to watch.
I just think that in terms of being complete in all facets of the game, Stephen Curry is 100%, obviously top 10. He might be 6, but I just couldn't squeeze him into my top 5. And I felt like the guys that I left out, the guys on the list have no weakness. Jokic, he's getting there, but he's out of shape. He's got to learn how to condition better. Embiid getting there, but he's got to make sure he's conditioned to plays more games. KD, if he was playing, would obviously be up there.
You could say that about Kawhi, too.
Yeah. So, that he'd play more games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you because Kawhi is just so
I mean, you just won a championship.
No, I agree with this list. I think it looks good. I mean, I would probably do around the same. Yeah, AD, maybe I'd switch Curry in there. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one really hard. But, yeah, I mean, I'd probably put Curry in there over AD.
Yeah.
Personally, but that's tough.
It's all tough. I mean, there's so much good talent in the NBA right now that it is.
Or maybe even Curry over Kawhi just because of games played.
Right.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I mean that's probably where I would have it too.
NBA season's back, baby.
It's back. I'm so excited. Tuesday,
Taco
game
Tuesday.
1. Who do you got? Pelicans or Raptors?
That's a good question. I'll take the Raptors. Yeah, I'll take the Raptors. I'm that game doesn't really interest me that much.
I'd probably take Toronto.
Yeah.
And then Lakers or Clippers.
In terms of the season or that
Or
night?
no, that night.
Oh, Lakers.
Yeah,
because
I
I mean,
agree.
dude,
Yeah, no Paul George.
and I think all these teams, the 40% of the league was free agents. So some of these teams, right away, don't be surprised if it's a little growing pains for a little bit.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, Jon, thanks for coming on with me, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Awesome
extensive, but we got some fire takes in there, so that was awesome. You want to plug anything on social media, or are you good?
I got nothing to plug, but it's Cabo season, you heard?
Yep, Cabo season is upon us. Recovering from Vegas. We're probably going to do a Vegas recap in a few weeks from now. I got to find some more time. But, yeah, if you haven't, give me a 5-star review. Rate, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff on Apple Podcast. I'm on Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon TuneIn. Check me out on Apple Music. Find my Spotify music, SoundCloud, Instagram, TJ.Martino, Twitter, TJ Martino, Snapchat, TJ Martino, Facebook. Look up the podcast on Facebook. We were there. I can't believe it. I folded and went back to Facebook. And one friend challenge. Don't forget your one friend challenge. Tell one friend. I don't care if they're sleeping while listening. I don't care if they're walking, talking, thinking. Listen to me. Yeah. And thanks for listening. And see you on the next side.
Kiss your homies goodnight.
Kiss your homies goodnight.